being an entrepreneur sounds cool, but the reality of building a business is very, very difficult. Every level that you hit, there's a lot of things that suck that you just won't want to do. What you're capable of is on the other side. I don't feel like it.
And if you're committed to what it is that you're trying to do, nothing is going to stop you from getting there.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Business Owners with myself, Trevor Cowley. Today I have a good buddy, Dan Workman. He owns Identity Graphics up in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is a vehicle wrap company. Dan was also a part of the Real Business Owners Mastermind when we had the higher level. So we used to have two levels to it, an upper level and a lower level. Dan was a part of the upper level. And so I've got to know him pretty well over the last couple of years, and it's been awesome to see his journey as a man and as a business owner, bro. You know, you've been making some moves, and full transparency, when you're making moves and it feels like you're making progress, the rug will be pulled out from underneath you a time or two.
For sure.
Okay, you find the guy, he's going to come in and help you run the business, or you find that good installer or whatever it is, and you feel like that you're finally making progress where things on the surface seem smooth, but it's like 2 weeks later, 2 months later, or whatever it may be, there's always issues and always problems, especially when you feel the relief or reprieve of stress, feeling like you finally made the one decision where everything's going to be okay. I think that that's one of the biggest detriments to business ownership, is having a false belief that just because you made this one move or this shift in your business that all of a sudden everything's just going to be okay. You're still in business. There's still going to be problems. There's still going to be stresses. And so, Dan has expanded his business over the last couple of years. He's hired, what would we call it? An operational manager, or just a manager, or an ops person,
Title's operations manager, but manages the shop.
Yeah. So just signed a new lease on a bigger shop. A lot of cool things are happening in Dan's life and Dan's business right now. He also is one of the owners of Wrap Shop Academy, right? And then you guys have a podcast as well called Wrap Shop Talk. Is that right?
Yep.
So for those of you that are in the middle of wrapping a vehicle with your earbuds in right now, hit up Dan and Brent. They do an incredible job with the Wrap Shop Academy. So let's peel it back a little bit. How did you get into the industry
Of wraps?
Yeah.
I feel like I fell into it, but over the course of high school, a little bit of high school education, falling into some graphic design stuff.
You said some high school education? Did you not?
Some of my high school education. Education.
I made it to the 9th grade. Yeah.
And it's
no kidding.
What I didn't finish was college.
Yeah.
But a little bit of graphic design in high school kind of led me, like, introduction into the programs that would be needed for designing vehicle wraps. And then I, after high school, did some sales, doing door-to-door stuff, and had, sales experience there. And then I worked at a sign company, Yesco Signs, selling channel letters and banners and billboards and stuff like that.
That's a big ticket item.
Yeah.
In some cases, you can make some decent commission. Yeah, I knew a couple people that were in the sign business.
Yeah, it was good.
For many years. Yeah, they did well.
It was good. And that was my first experience with B2B stuff. And it was, I much preferred that over knocking doors, selling alarms, to little old ladies. That was not my jam.
Yeah.
So I worked at Yesco doing sales for signs. And then eventually a buddy of mine bought equipment and a small book of business from somebody selling a vehicle wrap company.
Okay.
And he's like, I have no idea what this is or how to do it, but I wanted to buy it, and I need some help. So I kind of offered to help him
do some of the designs and stuff, or the
help on everything. Help him design stuff, sell stuff. We both learned the equipment and how to install together. We did that for about a year, and then eventually he decided that he didn't want to do it anymore. It's like him and his father-in-law owned it. They bought the equipment, and they shut it down. And I had spent a good amount of time learning everything, and I actually really enjoyed it. So after they shut it down, I just started another one shortly after.
And
ever since.
yeah, haven't looked back.
So that when I started mine, it was so when I worked with my buddy, we had a shop in South Jordan, and seemed like we did okay just for a couple
Young kids
guys
on the side, you know, at night.
And then when they shut it down, we tried working things out to make it maybe have me
Take over.
It would be cool if I could just
Yeah.
take it over.
Yeah.
But the father-in-law wasn't down with that. He was like, no, we're just gonna keep everything and sell it.
So what did you do after that? Like, did you have to go buy a bunch of your own equipment and slap it on a credit card? Did you have money saved up? Like, what did that transition look like?
The only thing I had was the experience that I had built up for that little bit of time, and I knew what I needed to do. So, and I had contacts from some of the sales that we had been doing. So I basically, after they shut everything down, I basically kept the sales calls going, doing cold calls to people, and a little bit of the business that we had. There's not a ton of recurring, especially when you've only been doing it for a year.
Yeah, if you slap a wrap on, if you're doing it at like just the everyday person, it's different when you do commercial, right? Because they're going to buy new vehicles and stuff like that eventually.
Well, we were mostly doing commercial stuff. There just wasn't we weren't doing any big fleet stuff. So there wasn't like repeat business.
Gotcha.
It's like 1, 2 kind of thing. So I basically kept the sales calls going and wrapped out of my parents' garage. And when I would make a sale, I'd do the design, do everything. And then I would just offer to go pick up their vehicle and bring it back to my parents' house. Yeah. And I contracted with another wrap company in Utah that would do my printing for me. So I'd send the designs to them. They'd print it. I'd pick it up.
So you didn't have to do the equipment because so did they charge you a pretty big premium on it now that you're doing it for yourself, or were they pretty fair with you?
They were pretty fair. Yeah. It was another big company in Utah. I want to say that I probably didn't need to do this, but I think I actually bought material, took it to them, and let them just print for a flat fee rather than just buying the printed material.
Yeah.
Can't remember the reason why I did that, but it seemed like they were willing to give me a lower price on printing.
Yeah.
If I just
they probably want to make margins on anything that they're doing, right? Oh, this is the vinyl, this is the product, this is, if you're taking some of it, we're not going to give it to you at cost, because then it puts us, behind, so to speak. So,
yeah. So a couple months of that, just doing it out of my parents' garage, and then I was like, all right, this is working. Let's do this. I leased a shop in Salt Lake, for an insane deal. I didn't really know it at the time, but
after being
felt scary.
Yeah.
But so made the leap, signed that lease, and I still was outsourcing printing to this other shop for probably 6 months or so, and then ended up buying some equipment. Bought it used from another place.
Did you have to finance that equipment, or were you able to pay for it cash? Did you have enough money saved up?
No. Pretty much everything in my business has been not necessarily save up money, just make it work and do it. So like, I don't know if it's not necessarily a good thing, but the equipment I bought, it was a company in Tooele. They weren't a wrap shop. They were just a company that had the equipment that I needed, and they were selling it used. And I don't think I even had good credit at the time. And I basically worked a deal with them to seller finance it to me.
Yeah.
For a really low fee.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, would you guys sell this to me? It was like probably 10 grand.
Yeah.
I'll pay you $1,000 a month, kind of a thing.
And they were just,
yeah, they were cool with it.
So that, to me, that just shows you, most people don't have the right resources to be massively successful at an eye's glance, right? Like, you look at your situation at an eye's glance, like, I don't have the resources that I need to be successful. Then there's the people that take it one step further and just become an individual that is resourceful with the resources that they do have, right? Like, time is a resource, your energy is a resource. Like, you didn't have the money to be making these moves, but yet for whatever reason you wanted the results so bad that these things would start happening where it was working in your favor. I'm a big believer, as long as you start moving in a direction that the universe kind of parts the seas a little bit and says, hey, here you go. Like, once, and there's the old saying, once the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? And so it's like when you're actually ready to make a change, all of a sudden you'll start to see synchronicity in life where it's like, man, I just met that one person, I contacted this person, and things start happening. The world knows how committed you truly are. And I think it's just an awesome testament to who you are as an individual, that it's like, this is what I want to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. I'll make some calls, see if they'll do my printing. Okay, cool. I'm ready to take the next step. Hey, this is used. Let's shoot them a call and ask if they're willing to do seller find. Like, you have to kind of put yourself out there and ask, before you shall receive. You ask somebody to help you with your printing. You asked them. Like, everything that you want is on the other side of an ask. And I don't think enough people are being assholes. Is that right? Assholes?
Yeah.
And asking enough questions or asking for help with the resources that they do have available to them. Again, on the onset or with the naked eye, it doesn't appear like you have resources, but I promise you, if you're resourceful enough, you have everything that you need to be successful right now, right? Like, that's just the way it is. So you did that, you signed the lease, you figured it all out. Was the first year or two, did you run out the gates because maybe your overhead was low and you did pretty well? Was it a rough couple years? Did you feel like quitting and giving up during slow times in that first year or two? Talk about just a little bit of that startup phase and what that looked like. How long did you do it by yourself before you started bringing in help? And, what that looked like from that transition of solo bolo to now where you are. There was a process in between that, right? Like, I want to know what that looked like for you.
Well, so after getting the equipment, it was just me in the shop, selling, designing, printing, installing, follow up, everything.
HR,
everything.
Accounts receivable, AR, HR, invoicing,
Bit hours, all the departments. I'll tell you what, I wasn't pushing in chairs to make sure they were straight.
Dude, you were just trying to make sure your vision was probably straight. Just going into the day.
There were many nights spent like rapping all night long because this customer's going to pick their vehicle up at 8:00 and I have to have it done. So I'm here all night. It's 5 a.m. Okay, now I go sleep on the futon for a couple hours and then pick it up. And a lot of nights where I was literally hallucinating.
Yeah,
because I was so
hearing
tired.
noises like you're like a tweaker. Like, what was that?
What was that?
You're like, bro, it's 2 a.m. You're here alone, and now you're just hearing shit. Your brain's starting to play tricks on you, dog. Go take a nap.
It's the only time I ever experienced that, and it was trippy. Yeah. So I did that for I think for too long, but I definitely learned a lot of lessons in it. Which was I was solo for about almost 6 years, just doing it by myself. Wow. And there was times where I felt like I was making a ton of money. It felt really great. And there's times where it was like, this is a little slow. Luckily, the overhead wasn't too crazy. And after that first year, I paid off the equipment that I had leased from these guys. So my only overhead was really the rent, which was really reasonable.
Yeah.
So even in slow times, it was not terrible.
Yeah.
And I was young. We were me and my wife were just, married and had, our one kid, and I had my other boy. So financially, we weren't too bad, but for the first 6 years, it was, just me. And there was, in those 6 years, there was plenty of times where I went to my wife, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. This sucks. This freaking sucks. I don't know what to do. Like, I should just sell all of it and do something else, or I should close it down or whatever. There's many times.
But thank God, you probably didn't have anything else to go to.
Yeah.
Because sometimes as a business owner, you're like, dude, I don't know if I should do this anymore. And then you go to the next question, like, well, what the fuck else would I be doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'll just keep doing it because you don't have the answer to the next question. So it's like, do I want to just go work for somebody else and go get a regular job? Like, all these things. Like, I mean, I remember having conversations with my wife, like at first when I made an investment, started, running and operating businesses. And it was like, I made a little bit less and paid more in taxes that first year, and I worked more.
Yeah.
So after the end of that year, she looked at me as like, how do we owe more in taxes and you made less? and you're working more.
Yeah.
Like maybe you should go to school, like think about like getting a good job and, you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, no, like it's all fine. The issue is when you're new in business, you're not familiar with what a K1 is, right? So for instance, if you're not a business owner and you're listening, you start a business on year one, let's say there's $0 in the bank account. Okay. At the end of that year, let's say there's $100,000 in that bank account. You maybe paid yourself $100,000, but you're trying to be smart and putting reserves in your business. So naturally you would think because you paid yourself $100,000, the only thing that you're going to pay tax on is the $100,000 that you paid yourself.
Yeah.
When you do taxes as a business owner, you get what's called a K1. So there's going to be a K1. You're going to say, I made $100,000, and the K1 is going to say $100,000 as well, because basically there's $100,000 sitting in the business bank account that's yours. Yes, you're not touching it and accessing it because you're keeping it there for reserves, but you still have to pay tax on that money. So technically, your income is going to look like you made $200,000 when you only took home $100,000. Now you're paying tax on $200,000 rather than paying tax on $100,000, right? The cool thing about it is that's now considered your basis as a business owner. So if the next year, let's say, for instance, there's only $50,000 in that account and you paid yourself that same $100,000 that you did last year, the K1 that you would receive that year would be a negative $50,000 because the $100,000, once you get the K1 on it, is considered your basis, meaning you've already paid tax on that money that's sitting there. So if you ever wanted to pull that $100,000 back out of your business and bring your basis back to zero after that, you pay zero tax on that $100,000 because you paid it through your K1, right?
Trevor's always taking me to school. That might make sense why some years my taxes are a lot higher.
Yeah. So like you'll get these forms, a K1 that says, oh, by the way, and you're like, how does my tax return say that I made $250 or whatever when it feels like you only made $150? Because your K1 might be $100,000 and now your tax liability, even though you touched $150, is equal to $250. So it does have the ability to vary. So here my wife is saying like, we made less and we're paying more because I got a K1 because there was money sitting in the bank account that was mine that we haven't touched, but I have to pay my portion of tax. My 33% of that business is what I owned. So if it said $200,000, I had to take 33%. So $66,000 of that $200,000 and put it on my tax liability. Then my other partners had to do the same thing. And then again, you get to the point where every year your basis goes up if you're building your reserves. So if you have $500,000 sitting in your bank account and you shut your business down and you take the full $500,000 out, you're paying zero tax on that because you've paid tax on that throughout through your K1s. So there's money sitting in that business bank account that's yours that is, once you do decide to take it, is tax free. And if you took a $250,000 out of that $500,000 and you personally had already paid yourself $250,000, you would pay zero. Your income would be zero because you paid $500,000 in taxes in that business reserve over the years with all these K1s, meaning now that money's tax free, right? So when you pay yourself that $250,000, the K1 that you're going to show is a loss of $250,000. So it's very front loaded where you're getting taxed. And on the back end, when you start touching some of the money in the later years, then it has the ability where you get K1s that are in the negative that helps you offset your income. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So it's this weird, it's this weird thing where you have to understand what your basis is before the end of each year so that you know what type of K1 you're going to be getting. And then you can determine if you want to do your distributions in December to bring it down or however you want to do it, where you're actually touching the money that you're going to pay tax on. How we would normally do it just to build business reserves as partners is we would get these big K1s because we were building large reserves. At one point, one of our companies had like 2.6 million sitting in a reserve, right? So we paid K1s like tons of years over and over. But it gets to the point where you get this K1. Let's say I had a $100,000 K1 and my two business partners had a $100,000 K1. So the business, we added $300,000 that year to the basis that we have to pay taxes on, right? So what we would do is we would take a look at what our overall taxable income was. Let's say it's 25%, right? What we would do when we would get those K1s right after that, we would cut a distribution check for $25,000 each to cover the taxes for each one of us on those K1s. So we almost had the business take care of its own portion of taxes on the K1s once the account got big enough, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, that's what I'm going to have to remember, that word basis for my K1.
Yeah, well, you need to ask whoever's doing your tax, like, hey, what's my basis?
Yeah.
And then you're going to know your basis might only be $50,000. It might be 150. It might be 250. But if there's ever a year where you had a really good year and you have a pretty big basis in your business, you could take a large check and that next K1 that comes out shows whatever that large check was as a loss against your income, right? And then it's going to bring that down as well, if that makes sense. So knowing your basis does help at the end of the year, for you to project on what you're going to owe on taxes and then try to manipulate
a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, my wife was like, dude, this thing's a racket, bro. Like, why are you a business owner? So I'm just like, it'll pay off. In the back of my mind, I was like, fuck, I hope it pays off. I don't like being wrong. And secondly, I don't have a whole lot of options. I wasn't smart, so it was like, what else am I going to do? This was I was pigeonholed to a certain extent of having to figure out how to make this work, even on the days where you go home and say, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. I didn't have any other options to do. Yeah. Although halfway through that, there was a year that I started a online subscription box for fitness stuff. It was called Gym Crate. It was actually pretty good, but I was doing identity, my wraps, and I was doing this Gym Crate thing, and I was filling these boxes, like 50 boxes a month that people were paying like $20 a month for. And I'm like, I can't do both of these things at the same time. And I wasn't outsourcing anything. Yeah. I was doing literally everything.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was like, I got two businesses. Except really
multiple streams of income, is what they say.
Except these two businesses, I'm still wearing every hat, doing everything in.
The idea is to have one that's somewhat self-sufficient before you move on to number two.
Yeah, I figured that out. eventually.
I guess if you start 10,
one will rise to
the top. The cream rises to the top, just kind of flurry around with 10.
Yeah.
See which one shows some potential. And
sometimes I wonder if I picked the right one.
Hey, don't we all, brother? I think that's pretty normal. Yeah. If you don't have second guessing or doubts, are you really even auditing your life?
Yeah.
Are you auditing yourself? We should be asking ourselves, did we choose the right route? Then again, what other route is there? That's the next question, because you did chose the right route if you didn't have any other routes. And it seems like it has been able to support your family pretty good. Yeah. We talked about the type of money that you're making when you actually dig into your numbers and saw, which is, it starts making things a little bit easier in terms of the stress and the pressure and some of the things that you're dealing with when you say, oh, that's what I made off of the business last year versus wearing,
Oh, me and my family have been extremely blessed with the business that I've built. And it's been really amazing. I really don't think that like the other path would have been any better. I think we went down the exact right path that I should have with the wrap business, and it just took a little bit too long to get to the point we're at now, where it took me 6 years to even bring somebody on board.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I learned all kinds of things about the business in that time, of how to be the technician for every single role. Which could have made it easier to bring people on to train them on what I wanted to do. But I didn't know anything about the exact processes or SOPs or anything like that. It was just, hey, come here, work with me. I'll show you how to do this. Okay, now you take over this for me.
Well, you don't really have to have systems and processes when you're doing it for yourself. What are you documenting it for you?
Right, yeah. Exactly.
You already know it.
Yep.
So you're not going to refer to any documentation. So it kind of feels premature.
Yeah.
Even though that is a smart thing to do, is be documenting it as you're doing it in preparation for, that next person that comes in so that you're already ready.
Yep.
When most people, what they end up doing is they bring somebody in with no system or process and say, hey, you just be under my wing for the next month or two and I'll show you the ropes, which slows the whole process down because you're trying to teach while you're trying to do, and you're paying somebody to do nothing but learn while you're doing slower work, which means less money's coming in because your focus and an energy is maybe instead of a 2-hour job, it's a 3.5 hour because you're explaining every little thing, which could have been another car in and another car out, which is very difficult to do. And, obviously organizing things in terms of systems and processes, maybe it didn't need to be 2 months under the wing. Maybe it needed to be 2 weeks with proper systems and processes, and then they're off and running, know. 6 fucking years, bro.
I know.
Like when you said that number, I just wanted to stop you right there, but I'm doing better at controlling my mouth. Sorry.
Are you?
I don't know, dude. I feel like it. I am giving myself credit for that. Okay. Because I wanted to say something, but I was like, let him finish. Because normally if I have something to say, I'll just, sorry, the beginning of my sentence interrupted the middle of yours, but mine was more important. Okay. That's how it works around here. So
you sound like my wife.
6 years though, bro. Like that seems like a heavy thing to unwind. Like all of the negative habits that you curated over 6 years of doing everything that yourself.
Yep.
I see bringing people in. I see a perfect situation for an awesome micromanager because you're so used to doing everything that yourself.
Yeah.
And everything runs through you that it's hard to even turn the other cheek and look in the other direction because it's like, no, I have to be on. I trained myself this way, right? Was that an issue for you in terms of micromanaging, or were you just like, whatever?
I think yes and no. Micromanaging. I wouldn't say micromanaging, but I would only let go of certain pieces like a little bit at a time. Right. So I brought in somebody to help with installs, but I was still doing majority of the installs. They were just like my extra hands. I'm like, hey, you just help me get this done a little bit.
Through that or whatever.
And it took a while I knew that I wanted to train somebody and let go of that. Like, I don't want to continue to do it it was mostly because I got after doing it for 6 years total. I'm like, I want to get rid of the thing that I like doing the least, which was actually installing the wraps. So, it was a little bit easier to let go of that
because of the
not hatred, but I was just I'm so sick of
years,
I got freaking carpal tunnel in my wrist. I'm ready to offload. But everything else, like it was hard to let go of each thing that I felt like I was the professional at. Like and design was one of the last things that I was like, I don't want to offload this to somebody because I don't like anybody else's designs. Like I need to have my hand in everybody's designs. Make sure it looks a certain way, kind of a thing. So, I don't feel like I was ever much of a micromanager because I also didn't like to
manage.
Yeah, manage. No, literally. Yeah,
lead.
I wanted to. Yeah, I struggled with literally leading and managing people and keeping them accountable. So when something would happen, like say something happened on an install that was wrong, we definitely talk about it. Like, hey, this isn't how I would do it. Let's do it this way next time, kind of a thing. But it wasn't like
there was no recourse. There was no consequence.
Yeah.
It was just like, hey, do it different next time.
Yeah. I was a very easygoing kind of manager.
So you weren't like me where if the fucking chair on the conference room table is tweaked, that you get upset and say that's not the standard.
Yeah.
Like the small things that are easy to do, we should be able to do them with ease.
Yeah. But what I did find was that the farther along, when I did eventually hire people, and each role, pretty much every role in the business is covered right now with employee having their job for that role,
their system, their process. Everybody. Yeah.
And now I can. It's easier for me to see the full. Like what my standards are for everything when I'm not still doing it. Because if I still have my head in the computer doing design, I'm not paying as close attention to what's happening over here. So now that I can see everybody doing their role and I know what the standards are for what I expect them to do, it's easier to be that manager to be like, hey, this is the standard. We need to upkeep this, for design quality, for install quality, for, we shouldn't, for the amount of times that it takes, the time that it takes to call somebody back, that if we get a missed call, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where I can see data and numbers and then have conversations with people to keep that.
Well, I think that you just alluded to something that's important that maybe you didn't even know that you alluded to. But when you're too down in the weeds of your business, you're so focused on what it is that you're doing that you don't have the time to do quality control.
Yeah.
You can't oversee everything if you're part of the doing.
Yep.
That's where your energy and focus is on the task at hand, not on the business. Your energy and your focus should be on the business entirety.
Yep.
Not singular focused on this is what I do within the business and turning, a blind eye to everything else. But you also don't have the energy to manage people efficiently, because when you're in the weeds doing, you're stressed, you're physically exhausted. It's almost like, I don't want to even go down the path where I have to take energy and have a tough conversation with somebody because I'm not in the right mental state. I don't have the energy for it. I'm fatigued. I'm tired. I'm stressed. It's just like another thing. But if the only thing that is your thing is overseeing the thing, then you have the energy for it. Then you have the time for it. Everything in your being is like standard. Your job is to hold the line and hold the standard in your organization, and you will be able to see from that 30,000 foot view where the standards are deviating.
Yep.
Right? Like, I want the standard around here to be so completely obvious to the point to where, again, if you walk by a piece of trash and don't pick it up, that ain't fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that shows lazy. To me, that shows I didn't do that, so that's not my job or my response. That's the type of attitude or mindset that I see when somebody sees something that's out of place and they don't take it upon themselves to address what needs to be addressed. And I know it sounds small, a piece of trash on the ground, or the chairs around this conference room table that we're recording the podcast in. I want the chairs pushed up directly, butted up. I want it to look perfect. When I walk by, it should all be pushed in and be visibly organized. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how where I can walk by this conference room and I could tell you if somebody fucked up. Mm-hmm. That's how on top of it in terms of oversight.
Yep.
Right. But if I'm so busy pulling my hair out, just sitting in my office, dealing with a bunch of bullshit because I'm in the weeds, I don't give a fuck about the chairs.
Yep.
I don't give a fuck about a piece of trash. Like, I'm going to walk by the chairs too, and I'm going to walk by the trash too.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be the overseeing. We have a God that oversees the world, the earth. You are your God within your business to a certain extent. And I'm not trying to say that in a manner in which is like, what do they call that? Like, where you're, using God and it's like blasphemy. I don't know what the fucking word is, but it's like like you shouldn't call yourself a God, right? Sure. Like that type of a situation. But like, that's really what it is. Who else is the overseeing eye of your business? Yep. Like, we have to have that for the earth. Why wouldn't a business need that in order to function?
Yeah. Well, it's literally you're either working in your business or on your business.
Yeah.
Everybody says that.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. If you're in business, you're still doing part of I'm doing the design, or I'm doing the install, or I'm selling, or whatever. That's in the business. On the business is you oversee the thing as a whole.
The question really comes down is where are you spending your time and energy? And if I sit with you for a week or two, I will tell you where your time and energy is going.
Yeah.
And in most cases, I would say 90% of business owners right now are not utilizing their time and energy appropriately to advance their business, to advance their life, to advance their finances. That's just the truth, because they're going into their business the same version of of themselves that they were yesterday, and they're so in the weeds that they're not paying attention to what everybody else around them is doing, so they can't lead properly, they can't hold a standard, and you're not really going to have an organization of people that respect you, because there has to be a leader in place that's leading with core values and a standard that are that's repetitive. You say these standard every Monday morning meeting. I say almost some of the same shit over and over. It's like when you go to church, the pastor or the bishop or whoever that's overseeing the church, the words are a little bit different, but the messaging's still the exact same, if that makes sense, right? It goes back to one thing. There's a higher power, there's a God, do the right thing, blah, 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 love your neighbor. Really, that's what it comes down to, but it's wrapped differently every single week. That's pretty much what I do on my Monday morning meetings. You know, it's like, it's my Monday sermon. Like, yo, this is who we are. This is what we do. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. Secondly, it's an investment into yourself, in your own personal self-worth, to operate at a high level. That just feels good. Yeah. Nobody likes to not operate at a high level when you have a deep knowing that you're not. So therefore, you're living a less than life based upon how you're showing up. In here, there's a standard. You're not going to live like that in here if you're around me. That's just how the cookie crumbles, man. You know, and you know, and it just, I just remember being a part of masterminds. We're talking about values, working on the business rather than in the business, and all this stuff. And it was just so overwhelming. Yeah, it was just like, that's not me. Yeah, I'm not that guy. You know, core values seem cheesy, you know, like all these bias that you have, but the person that you are right now isn't the person that you want to be. The person that you are right now doesn't have the results that you want. So if you're biased towards a change that has the ability to help you make progress, maybe you should scratch that itch, because that's the itch that's going to get you where you want to go. So you can't trust your own bias when you are the individual holding you back from better, if that makes sense, right? So it's almost like, okay, I got myself into this situation. If I'm against it initially, that means I have to be a little bit more curious about what's behind that, because my initial reaction was, that's weird, I don't want to do it, blah, 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 based upon I wasn't a good leader. I didn't know where to start. It was imposter syndrome. You're telling me all of a sudden I built a business and now 1 week I got to come in and say, by the way, we have core values? And everyone's going to look at me and be like, dude, who are you? Who do you think you are? This isn't how you've shown up for the last 3 or 4 years. And now all of a sudden, so there's all these things when you're trying to do better for your business that you have these battles mentally, you know?
Same battles. And when I first implemented core values in my business, right now, there's not one person on my team that was around when we first did those a few years ago. Everybody on the team is now new from when we first did that. And it's, I don't know, it almost feels better that they come in after that's already established. Not that there couldn't have been people around. It's just, it's nice to, I don't know, the team feels different when they come into something more organized, more structure with the core values.
You also feel like you can demand more too.
For sure, And like the way, so like in our Wrap Shop Academy, like the whole point of Wrap Shop Academy is, it took me 6 years of doing it by myself before I even attempted to do anything else. And another, 5 years to grow it to a 7-figure business. And the Wrap Shop Academy, we just want to help people that have wrap shops, whether the personal, commercial, whatever, get to basically a 7-figure business where they're not in the weeds all the time. They can do what Brent did, and beyond, because we have another partner who has a 8-figure wrap shop, and they can do beyond what they've been done. But what I tell them in our Wrap Shop Academy is you have to, your business is like you're the captain of a ship. You're Jack Sparrow, you're whoever, like on a pirate ship, that like to get this ship to go to where you want it to go, everything on this ship is way too complicated for you to do by yourself. You can't run around lifting the sails, hoisting the things, and and getting down the hatches and making the food. Like, you can't get this ship to go anywhere if you're doing everything.
The decks, is it swab the
decks?
Yeah, you can't swab the deck and steer the boat.
Yeah, you can't do any of that.
And you can't help somebody walk the plank if you're
You're gonna walk the plank yourself. Yeah,
you know,
exactly. So you're the captain of your ship, and the only way to get to where you want to go is to make sure that every job on that ship is covered and somebody's doing it well. Not doing it well, then you walk the plank.
Yeah,
you know.
Could you imagine the military if they didn't have leaders and stuff, like if they just put a big group of guys together and said, "Hey, get fit,
let's go fight,
just run up and down the beach," and whatever. Who knows what chaos would ensue with a group of people like that going out, partying, drinking,
kill each other.
Look what they do after they get off. It's party time at the bars, right? So let's be real. I mean, I'm a degenerate that turned my life around. Like a lot of people that go into the military, and I hate to say it because it might offend people, there are a lot of degenerates that go into the military for the purpose of straightening themselves out. Like, I don't know what else to do with my life. I'm going down a bad path to find structure. Yeah, to find structure.
Yeah.
Like, because they don't want to go to college. They know that their life isn't headed down a path that's positive. They're hanging out with the wrong crowd, and they feel like that's an escape or a way out. So it's a bunch of degenerates trying to get reformed into, a mentally strong, resilient killing machine where they have a level of equanimity when chaos is happening all around them. That's the entire purpose of it, right? But when everything stops, the sun goes down, they like to go fucking party at the bars, get into some fights. You hear about these stories of the Marines and the Navy. There's a bunch of different war stories. They like to party and have fun. These people, they have to have structure. And when they have structure, they can operate at an extremely high level. Remove the structure, people go back into regular life as a civilian. They can't fucking hack it. 90% of them can't fucking hack it. They can do incredible things as long as somebody else is overseeing them with structure, saying, this is what we do. This is how we do it. Fucking get out of bed. It's 4:30. Make your bed. They'll honor everything at an extremely high level, but they don't know how to have this thing called self-accountability.
Yeah.
They're extremely high level when they have outside accountability with structure from somebody else coming down on them. But they go out into the real world, there's plenty of them that, have drinking problems, drug problems. It's not like that they can't perform at a high level. They don't know how to discipline themselves with that personal accountability to operate at a high level. That's what a business needs.
Yeah.
Is somebody with structure, somebody with discipline. Somebody says, this is what we do. This is how we do it at this time. And we fucking turn into killing machines.
I think you just solved the mental health crisis with veterans. If they just have somebody helping with the structure when they get
that's what it is.
Thing.
A man without purpose or structure, bro, is a very depressed man. Look in that man's eyes and you'll see fucking pain. A man's has to have something to wake up to do every day. They have to have something to overcome. They have to have a challenge. You give me an idle man, that mind is far from idle. That mind is going 1,000 miles an hour and it's all tearing them down from the inside. Life looks pretty gray at that point. Like, dude, this even like the 3 or 2 a day or the world record or whatever, it's absolutely crazy the difference that you feel when every day matters. When every single day matters. You cannot not show up for one day and have it be okay. You start back at zero. So it showed me the importance of maximizing every fucking day. And I just don't think enough people are waking up with purpose because they don't have anything to say, hey, the world record has given me a lot of every day that I get out of bed. It's like, I have something to do. I have to be intentional today. I've got to go get X done. And when I go do that, that puts me in a frame of mind where I have to be intentional because I'm starting my day every day where I have to be. So then the dominoes start falling. Everywhere else, I have to be intentional in order to be able to keep it all together and do that. So it's forcing me to operate at a higher level, which is bringing me a lot of purpose in my life. And purpose brings an individual peace, because when you feel like that you have something to wake up for and a mountain to climb, it's like, fuck yeah, let's go. If you wake up and you don't have a mountain to climb, you don't know what to do, you're just unsure, you don't have structure, that's where that's where a man whittles away and becomes far less than what they're capable of, So
I get bouts of structure like that, and have my routine. I get dialed, get into a rhythm, and something throws it off, whether it's vacation, going out of town for a couple days or a week,
weddings, children being born, deaths in the family, vacations, the weather. I don't feel good. It's wintertime blues. I get depressed. Like I had a rough bout for years from the time it was like November to the end of February. I thrive in the sun. I live in southern Utah for a reason. I have to have warmth and have sun. I can feel myself get into a low place during those winter months. The funny thing is when I've lived my life far more intentional over the last few years and have things structured, I haven't experienced that like I have before, right? Because my attention is actually on something every single day that must get done, rather than being like, okay, it's winter, I don't feel good. I don't have time to feel. I don't. I just have to operate. I just have to do. Like there's always we had in the inner circle, we had a call yesterday. One of the groups is the faith group. One is a fitness group for those that want to grow in their faith. One that wants to grow in their discipline. And the previous month I had them all make commitments. I said, I don't care. It could be fucking 10 air squats or 10 push-ups. I'm like, it doesn't have to be big, because it's like, for whatever reason, when you start like saying, hey, let's make commitments, people are like, 10 miles a day. Like they think that they've got to,
when the guy that's running half a marathon a day, so hey, make a commitment.
Hey, I've already, I told them.
The bar is high.
No, I flat out told them, I said, just to be transparent with you, if I were any of you guys, I wouldn't even think about even trying to come close to what I'm doing. I said, I'm in a completely different financial situation than all of you. I probably could not do what I'm currently doing in startup mode.
For sure.
So if you're at year 2, year 3, that's a little bit different. I have the ability now with the structure, systems and process, proper leadership, Monday morning meetings, accountability, blah, 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 blah. I have the ability to come in at 10:30 every single day, just not take a lunch and then work till 5. So I get my 6.5 hours in the office in. Then that last block of the day from 5:30 on is my family. The first 4 hours, me, the next 6.5 hours business, and then the next 3 to 4 hours is family. My days come in blocks. If you reach out to me at 8, 9, like about business or whatever, I'm ghosting your ass. I'm still doing me. Like, don't bring that shit to my fucking front porch when I'm doing me shit. You know what I mean? I'll get to you when it's time to do shit for other people. But Trevor comes first in Trevor's life. So I'm going to do the things that I want to do that fill up my cup before I start pouring it out in everybody else's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I told him that. I said I wouldn't do it. And that's why I minimized it. 10 push-ups a day. I don't care what it is. So people start saying shit. I'm going to do 5K a day. I'm like, okay, that's 3 miles, whatever. You can walk 3 miles. That's possible. Like, and I kept telling him, don't say something so big that you're not going to follow through or you're not going to honor. But I already knew that this was going to happen. I already had the second month phone call ready to go.
Yeah.
Because I already knew I was going to call him out and say, who actually did it every single day for 30 days?
How many?
There was one.
Really?
One. Oh, well, my wife was sick. I had to help with the kids. Oh, well, I did for X amount of time. And there was a certain situation or a circumstance. And the whole point of that was, if you can't fucking make a commitment that you made, I purposely told you to make it so minor that you could honor it, because the whole goal is giving themselves undeniable evidence that they are who they say they are and that they follow through on their commitments. Has nothing to do with how big the commitment is. Did you say you were going to do that? And did you honor it? So what that tells me is if you can't honor a fucking small micro commitment for 30 days, what the fuck does your business look like?
Yeah.
So that was the importance of it, was like, you guys need to understand consistency is the most important thing on planet Earth. The sun has been consistent every fucking day for however many, and if it wasn't, we wouldn't have the earth that we have. That consistency is what's going to create something awesome, something special. And if you can't be consistent for 30 days, no wonder why you're in financial turmoil.
Yeah.
You do not have control over your impulses. You lack discipline. So that tells me when something's difficult in your business, you shy away from that. If it's a situation or circumstance, there's always going to be situations and circumstance. 100% of human beings have them. And I said, whatever reason you guys are about to tell me why you didn't honor what you said that you were going to do, I don't give a fuck, because I've already overcame all of those exact same excuses. If you're talking about weather, you're talking about weddings, you're talking about death, are you talking about traveling? What are you talking? Sickness. Are you talking about being tired or sore or fatigued? Cool.
Yeah.
Don't bring that excuse to my doorstep, because I've already overcome that, and I'm not going to accept that from you if I don't accept that from myself.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of why I'm here.
There's a will, there's a way.
Right? Flat out. That's really what it comes down to. So let me ask you this. What would you say has been some of the biggest shifts just in the last, 2, 3, 4 years in your business that has helped you get to the point where you're not in the weeds as much? Was it the strategic hiring? Was it the systems and processes? Was it surrounding yourself with new people? Was it what were some of the things that you've done, or things that maybe you did but didn't know that you were doing, that put you where you're at right now, where you can kind of pop in and out and you don't have to stay until 5 a.m. because somebody's picking a car up at 6,
A few things. I think definitely probably the number one thing was realizing that, like, if I want to be an actual business owner, real business owner, like when I started or joined your group originally, like the idea of like being a real business owner is somebody who is not working in the business. And like, if I want to be that person, then I like every job in my business that I do has to have somebody doing it. It was that literal thought where I eventually have to have somebody doing. So I think at the time that I joined RBO, I had installers and I had somebody run my printing. I was still doing some design. I was doing sales, and I may or may not have had my admin. I can't remember. Who was doing some phone calls and scheduling, stuff like that. But there's still a lot of stuff that I was doing solo, or not solo, but me.
You were
responsible to it. Yeah. And the realization came that if I am going to be a real business owner, then that means everything in the business has to have somebody doing it that's not me. Otherwise it's not a real business.
You're self-employed. You're not a real business owner.
Yeah. I didn't consider myself that until all of those pieces, like all those things were checked. So for vehicle wraps, I had my installers, production, design, at somebody to do the schedule and phone calls. And then the last piece that I think the last hire I made was somebody do ops, sales. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
And I think once I filled pretty much every seat, then there was a shift of seeing some more of the overview of everything and making decisions on where to go, and having a standard of our service and our quality was definitely probably a big thing too, where I could I built a name and a brand somewhat that's I don't know how well known it was or is in Salt Lake, but well enough that we would get quite a few referrals and business and so it's always felt easier to add people to the team and have them sell my product because I have it a certain quality or certain whatever. So when I started adding people to like sales, it was easy to let them take over sales, knowing that I had my printing install and design all dialed in, and the product was really good.
Yeah.
So I felt comfortable having somebody sell the product. That
You can go put your name and your face out there and feel good about it
Yeah.
because you know what we're going to deliver.
Yeah. So having somebody in every seat was probably a really big shift. And once I had my admin in place and my salesperson in place, within the next year, we doubled our revenue pretty quickly. Because now it felt like the guy who's forgetting everything because I have my hands in everything. Now I have one person just doing their specific job, and now our ship is like sailing. Now we're cruising.
Yeah.
So we doubled revenue within about a year. And then over the next couple of years, now I've added an operations person who's replaced my admin and is kind of overseeing majority of the shop
day-to-day stuff.
day-to-day. And they were hired at a higher wage to with that expectation that they're going to manage a lot more.
So how did you pull it off? Right. Because what I mean by that is like, did you have to go through increasing your prices a bunch of different times because usually when you start out, you run some numbers, you're like, dude, I'm doing this on the side. I have a small overhead. I can do it for X amount. But when you start talking about needing admin, needing installers, having sales reps, having somebody oversee ops, plus having there still be money for you to get paid after all of that. So did you have to shoot yourself in the foot for a few years and be like, now it's time to bump pricing, or were you always priced pretty right?
In the beginning, I think my prices were lower.
Yeah.
At some point during being involved with RBO, we definitely did a price increase. And after hiring my operations person this last year, we increased another
10, 20%.
No, not even that high. Probably 5 to 8%. I think we did 8% increase. We were already not high. Like when somebody comes to us for a quote, we're usually on the higher end, maybe not the highest.
Yeah.
In the area,
which is okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta have an identity,
right?
You know, like, hey, this is we're higher end because of the quality. Look, we actually have an entire team to support you.
Yeah.
Versus, I guess you can go do it for cheaper with the guy that's doing it out of his parents' garage.
Yeah.
Which was me 10, 12 years ago. So like,
but yeah, we try to sell, and emphasize a VIP experience for people that the material that we purchase has a higher warranty than what they sell in a kit, primarily from a lot of our distributors.
Yeah.
So we spend more on the laminate because it has a better warranty, and we, vacuum out the inside of your car, put the placemats down, like the feet mats down, that a lot of shops just don't do, things that are like, seem pretty silly not to do.
Yeah.
We make sure the car's wiped down so it's just shiny, sparkly.
It's like
there's no, you don't have fingerprints on your shields, things like that. And if there's, issues with delivering cars, like we'll have somebody, a lot of times for the businesses, it's hard to get two people to go deliver a car to us. So we'll offer to bring the car to us, and we'll Uber you back to wherever you need to go. Things like that make it just a little bit
easier
for them, nicer. Yeah. But in my opinion, that when you have a better service, the service should be a little bit higher priced.
Yeah.
We take care of people, and then the most important thing is that we get their vehicle back to them fast, so that it's not like the vehicle. Each vehicle for
a revenue generating
thing.
Yeah.
So if they're out of vehicle for days and days, then it's losing money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we increased prices. We added, put a person in every seat, and now the last couple of years, it's been able to just see better where this ship is.
So what does your day look like now? Like, are you able to pop in and out as you please? Do you go into the office from noon to 5? Does it vary? Do you have any structure with what you do on a day-to-day basis now with your business, or do you just have the freedom to be able to pop in and out where people can get a hold of you if they have questions, things like that?
Where it's at now is exactly that. It's a little bit, I don't.
You're out fucking off and everybody's working, you're getting checks, but you make yourself available to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm in the office.
Working on the business, not in the business.
In the office, typically like 10 to 4, around there, 10 to 4. But there's a lot of days if something's happening at home that I need to take care of or whatever. Yeah. I'm never not available.
Yeah.
Like anybody on the team is like,
But
hey,
you
need
have
something.
the freedom
Yeah.
to have some days where like, not today. I'm not going in. This is happening. I need to be at home with my family. They're sick or whatever. So you could be where you need to be outside of your business if there are those situations or circumstance that would be of help to the people that you love and care for, so that you could be there for them, and your business supports that.
Yeah.
So
And that was one of the goals.
That's the whole point, right?
Yeah. That was one of the goals that I wanted to get to, was where I'm not chained to this thing where if there's something that I don't do, the business suffers. I didn't want to be in that position anymore.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I'd like to have a little bit more freedom, and that requires somebody else that's really what it comes down to is getting the butts in the seats.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the ability to do that, you have to look at your pricing. Does your pricing support growth? Does it support you getting the support that you need? And if the answer is no, and you start running some numbers, this is what I would need to truly have the support that I need right now to scale, then your pricing has to be adjusted accordingly. The business has to be able to support its own growth. And if it doesn't have the ability to do that, it's not that you have a bad business. You have a bad business operator operating the business.
Yeah.
Hence, it is you. Go look in the mirror and make those tweaks and make those adjustments. But I mean, I've just so you guys know, I've kind of watched all this stuff happen over the last like 2 or 3 years, the evolution. Dan is very inquisitive. Hey, here's the situation. I got a question, or hey, even in some of our masterminds, hey, slow it down for me. Will you say that again? Like maybe I'm just an idiot. I've heard you say that like
Sure.
30 times while you're trying to take notes. Slow it down. Like I actually do want to, which is cool because it's saying like, hey, I truly want to understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it didn't really feel like in school you could say, hey, teacher, slow down. You didn't want to say that, right? But when you're in a business group, it's like, let's maximize it. Say, rewind, say again. Yeah. Maybe the second time I hear it, something will,
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will say a lot of things in speeches and lessons and classes or whatever, and I have no idea what they just said.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So when I really feel like I need to know that, I say it. Like, please.
Ask again and again. Ask. We already told you he's an asshole. Yeah. He asks somebody else to print for him. He asks for equipment financing. He's, now he's got to ask, can you say that again? Yeah. At a different level.
And sometimes it's not that I don't understand it. It's that I all of a sudden started thinking of something else.
I know. I see you, dog. I'm like, the ADD's here. It's kicking in. Give him his Adderall or Ritalin or whatever or it's not Adderall. Adderall actually makes you go harder, huh?
Yeah. But that when for a little bit, actually though, when I did get everybody in their seats and I was like, okay, now I have a business, and I felt like I wasn't tied to it, but I was relying on these people to do their stuff that I hired them to do.
Yeah.
It felt selfish. Like I felt uneasy. Guilty. I felt uneasy about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I still do, but what's important, I guess, that I realized and that other people should realize is that it's you still own the business. It's your name on the leases. It's financial, risk. It's everything that you're putting out there to like grow this business, and you pay people a certain wage for a certain job, and it's okay to expect them to do the job for the wage that you hire them for.
Yeah. And
just manage your ship.
Yeah. I mean, there's when you start getting paid a lot of money, there's some guilt in that too.
Yeah.
When you start stepping away from your business, there's guilt in that too.
Yeah.
Like there's, man, I should be there on the front lines, and I shouldn't ask them to do it if I'm not. And there's truth to all that. Yes, there's going to be a period of time where you shouldn't, be coming and going on year 1 or year 2. We already heard Dan's story where he was there till 5 a.m. Cool. He front loaded so many hours.
Yeah.
So that you could get to a certain point where you can buy back your time. Instead of working 40 hours a week, some of those 70 or 80 or 90, 10 or 12 hour days to get this stuff out there. Like, we don't go far enough back in our brains to be like, dude, look what we had to fucking go through to finally get here.
Yeah.
Like we shouldn't have that guilt or shame to go cash a big check because we were the ones stressed out, last ones to fucking leave and shut the lights off and wonder if we should go get a fucking job and shut all this down.
Yep.
Don't you think that we deserve the reward 5-10 years later because we hung it out and we didn't shut the lights off and lock the door and then throw the key away and say, I'm done? You know, like we've been through a lot, bro, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah.
Like business is just so fucking brutal that it's like anything that you get, whether that's time freedom or money freedom,
Yeah.
that's fucking earned, bro.
Yeah. I also think that it's really hard to get past that feeling if you get to that point with the same team that you were working with.
Yeah. If you're doing it right.
Yeah.
And this is hard to say, but if you're doing it right, the people that you start with won't be the people that you finish with.
Yep.
That to me, when you start implementing the core values and structure and standards and this, it's going to repel people away because some people want the freedom that they had. It's like not being a disciplinarian parent and then all of a sudden one day coming home and you're a drill sergeant. Your kids are going to be like, the fuck?
Yeah.
I've been eating 30 Twinkies every single night. And now all of a sudden you're monitoring it. Like, who are you? Right. Like it just doesn't make sense. So it is normal to have somewhat of an exodus. Standards repel low frequency people or people that don't want to work hard. So if anything, it's a beautiful thing to repel those that really don't want to level up with you in your business. Those that want to level up should want standards, should want values, should want a North Star, should want systems and like high achievers thrive in that. Low achievers do not thrive in that environment.
Yeah.
Because they're exposed because everything that has the oversight that we talked about. And if they stay in that environment, they know they don't want to change and they're going to be exposed. So they just remove themselves in a lot of cases. In some cases, you'll have to have some conversation and be like, hey, that's not how we do it here anymore. If I have to have this conversation again, it's not going to be like this, you know, like this is the direction we're headed. Sure. Like try to work with them a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's at least 70-80% of the people in the beginning won't be there if you decide to have standards and values and this. It's like it and then when you do it, it's so painful that you're like, why the fuck did I even do this? I'm pushing everybody away out of my business.
Yeah.
You know, and then the doubts and this, that, the other, like, am I even doing it right? I feel like I'm trying to be honorable, have integrity, have values, but yet everywhere I look, it feels like doing that is repelling people away. So maybe I should default back to how I've always done it, you know?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a simple process of putting people in all those seats, right? It's not like, oh, I hired this person.
Yeah,
This person,
it didn't happen in a day, bro.
And it's like this person, oh, but this person left. And then this person, they suck. So they need to go. And then, oh, they're, you know, whatever, like all kinds of
Everything that you think of.
The path is not like this.
Yeah. Yes, there's butts in the seats there now.
Yeah.
The question is how many butts were in the seat prior to finding the butt in the seat that actually wants to operate in a manner in which is conducive to the business, you know?
Yep.
And that takes time. It takes years
Yeah.
to kind of put that together. So even if you want better, if you're not starting to put better together right now, just so you know, you're pushing the goalpost back because just because you're ready to make a change doesn't mean the results of change start happening. It takes a year or two for those results to start showing why it was important to do that. During that is a second guessing process, and you just got to hold the fucking line, planting your flag, hoping that what you're doing is the right thing. Yeah.
Another analogy I use is that rock climbing, like build a business like rock climbing. And I'm in a position where we just moved into a new space. It's a lot more expensive. It's a lot bigger. Hoping that we can build a bigger team and have a bigger business and more output and everything. But right now it feels we're in that climb from like this comfortable spot where we're anchored in, and now we're reaching up to climb to a higher spot on this rock wall of business. And
there's uncertainty.
And it's uncertainty. It's scary. I might fall, but you know, we'll get there. We'll get to the next spot.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
You'll ask. I'll ask.
Hey, ask somebody something.
Somebody might know something.
Is there a notch up there so I can put my hand? Please help me. You've been up to this wall before? Like, I'm feeling uncertain.
Yep.
Yes, Dan. Right there, buddy. You got this. So, how do people connect with you if they want to connect with you? If they own a wrap shop and they want to know more about the Wrap Shop Academy, or
wrapshopacademy.com is for our academy and for our programs. We actually have this will probably go on after our event, but at the end of the month we have a printing profits event that Brent and I are doing, that we're teaching guys how to run their print shops more efficiently.
What's the date on that? It's like the 26th or
28th.
So if you're up in the Salt Lake area, or even not, like if you want to fly into Salt Lake and go hang out with other people that own wrap shops and do the wrap shop talk and hang out and learn about the best ways to operate that type of a business, to where you could put yourself in a situation where you can do the 10 to 4 schedule, or have the freedom to not show up if there's a situation or circumstance with loved ones that you would prefer to be able to be there and support them. So that's really what business is, man. We should be building something that supports us, not be building something that we have to always support or become a prisoner to. You know, I mean, business is the worst fucking thing that ever happened on the planet if you're a prisoner to it. It's the best thing that ever happened on the planet if you've been able to build a real business and see checks and see money and see freedom and have a good team. But all that takes going to war with yourself, with people in your organization, with low standards, with, basically no longer tolerating what you used to tolerate, right?
And some grit to keep moving forward when things don't go.
And asking.
Best.
And asking, if you need help. So, dude, thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. Make sure that you're rating and reviewing the show. Other than that, guys, keep kicking ass, and we'll see y'all next week.